Hello and welcome back to Fallout 76. Today I've got one from the comments section. It was recently suggested that I give the Harpoon Gun a try, and it had been a while since I tried one, so I took it out, and it's actually gotten a bit of an upgrade since the last time I used it. So this is the one I'll be using today. It is 2-shot, explosive, swift, electricians, and we have the flechette mod. So with that first star, what I was really looking at was either quad or furious. Quad was great. It gives you 12 extra, or it gives you a capacity of 12. Doesn't give you any extra damage. Furious doesn't really work in my particular case because I am using this as a secondary weapon. Primary weapon on this character is a hunting rifle with reverse onslaught. And with 2-shot or with explosive, with flechettes, you're just obliterating the stack. So Furious doesn't work at all. So 2-shot gives me a nice little bit of damage. It increases the overall damage and it gives you one more projectile. It gives you 8 instead of 7. And the electrician's effect, this character doesn't really have a weapon that I can defend the drill in the raid stage with. And I think putting electricians on this makes it a really good candidate for that. So the last time I used one of these, the range on it was 156, and that was with the perk Love the Spread that gives you a 30% range increase. So the base range is actually 120, and it took it up to 156. You can see now we've got a range of 237, and I'm not even using Love the Spread. With Love the Spread, we can actually get that range up to a little over 300. So the range is basically double what it was before the September update. And that just makes this a whole lot more usable inside of VATS. So here's the build, keeping in mind that this is my secondary weapon, so some of the perks just really aren't going to apply. We've got Scatter Shot. This is just going to help us cripple enemies really quickly. And then Easy Target, bonus damage once the enemy is crippled. Number Cruncher, this has an AP cost of 18, which gives us 36% more damage. Tormentor, just bonus damage to enemies that are crippled. We've got Center Masochist. Sometimes maybe you're just going to hip fire into a crowd, hitting torsos. This will increase the damage quite a bit in that case. Then we have Awareness. This will just help with VATS accuracy. This is actually pretty good in VATS now. And then Grenadier, since I do have explosive on that second star, this will just double the radius. Demolition Expert, second star is explosive. This will just increase the damage from that. And as far as the Onslaught cards go, they're pretty much useless for this particular weapon, but we do have Adrenaline when we are fighting a crowd of enemies. Damage goes up 10% per kill, up to a kill streak of 10. And with luck of 16 and critical savvy 3, I can do a critical hit every third shot. And then we have better criticals, which will do double critical damage. And I went with Quick Hands over One Gun Army just because I don't necessarily need the bonus limb damage. And with an ammo capacity of 3, having a chance to have the clip just instantly reloaded is super handy. So here are the mutations. We've got Speed Demon for the extra reload speed. That's super handy when you're reloading as often as you will with this particular weapon. Marsupial, just extra jump height. Herd Mentality bonus to all our specials. Egghead, extra intelligence, really isn't going to affect anything as far as this weapon goes. Eagle Eyes for the bonus critical damage, a little bit of extra perception, which will help with the awareness perk. We have Carnivore. I do use meat-based foods, although food buffs really aren't going to affect anything for the most part here. Bird Bones for the extra agility, a little bit more AP. Adrenal Reaction works like adrenaline, but it's 5% instead of 10%. Kill streak of 10. And there are the foods for the most part. They're not going to make a big difference one way or the other. All right, let's start this out, and there we go. A one-shot. Oh, there's someone. I heard him talking. I heard someone talking, and you are dead. I mean, this just does so much. I mean, if you look at the, the numbers in the Pip-Boy, we should be hitting for, before adrenaline or anything kicks in, hitting for quite a bit of damage, and then as we go, damage just cranks up rather quickly. Now, I do get close to enemies. It is one of those things, and because this does bleed damage and explosive damage, you want to have some decent protection. Otherwise, you can do a lot of self-harm. You can see that little nick gave me... Ooh, look at my health is down. I'm not sure what did that to my health. It must have been me. A little bit of a delayed reaction, but yeah, my health was... Born Survivor saves the day, I guess. But for the most part, and even with the splash damage, I mean, we took half his health with the splash damage. Bleed damage isn't all that useful. I did actually test this out with, oh, look at that. It did come out, but you had to wait for quite a while. I actually did test this out with using Bloody Mess, under luck. The problem with Bloody Mess is that it only triggers, well, it only has a chance to trigger when the enemy dies from bleeding. So until they're dead, nothing's gonna happen. And so basically you're in a spot where you're shooting them, and then you're just standing there waiting for them to die when it's just as easy to just shoot them again, a second shot. Harpoons are so at the beginning of the video, I start with 100 harpoons exactly. And you can see just looting Huntersville, just looting the enemies as I go. I'm already up to 165. So ammo is not, you know, ammo conservation, not something you need to worry about. Oh, they're way over there. Hey, you know, actually, we could maybe hit them. Let's see here. That's not, oh, okay, there's a critical. Let's do a critical to the head, and that was enough to take him out, and there we go. That's actually, oh, he's not dead. Little bit of a delay. It's like you pull the trigger and the projectiles don't travel that quickly. So sometimes you have a little bit of a wait before you actually see if it hit or not. But, you know, damage over time effects just in general, I don't find them tremendously useful unless you're using something like Deal Sealer, which gives you bonus damage per affliction that the enemy has. So stacking damage over time is really useful just because you do more damage on the target when they are suffering from, you know, from the effects of that. But in terms of actually killing the enemy, I think generally it's just so much easier. I mean, ammo in this game isn't super rare for the most part. So, you know, waiting for the enemy to die versus just shooting them a second time. For me, I just rather shoot them a second time. It's just that much. It's quicker, and if I'm waiting for them to, you know, if I'm waiting for them to bleed to death or, you know, be poisoned to death or whatever, they can still do damage to me. Whereas if I just shoot them a second time, they're dead. And yeah, then they're not going to do any more damage to me, and I'm moving on to the next enemy. So for the most part, I don't love dot as a way of killing enemies, but again, as a stacking impairments for Deal Sealer, it's fantastic. But you can see this is I mean, it's actually a really good VATS weapon. Just having that increased range makes it so much more usable in VATS, and two-shot doesn't really affect it. You know, two-shot does have an effect if we're going to manually aim. So, I mean, look at that big, I mean, look how big the crosshair is. It's massive. And if I want to just do a hip fire, you know, we're still going to kill him, but there is a big spread, and, you know, that could be useful in an event if you want to tag enemies, especially because we have explosive. Although reloading also, oh look, there's quick hands. Yeah, quick hands actually triggers quite a bit. I find it pretty useful for this particular gun. Okay, I seem to have found a sheep squatch. Perfect. I'm always looking for those giant cryptids and obviously mole miners. Super squishy, but okay, that's pretty good stagger. All right, let's see what we can do with this guy. If we can cripple him, get him immobilized. Look at that. Okay, so the head's crippled, and I think the rest of him, oh no, he's dead. Okay. As you can see, damage on this is no joke. I mean, that was not that many shots. What was that? 3 shots? 3 or 4 shots. So, and sheep squatches are pretty tanky. So, and I got a 1-star pistol, so that's great. I think if you can take out a sheep squatch that quickly, you know you are hitting pretty hard. So let's get, I like some chaos here. We only have 3 rounds, but because we can stun things with a reload, you know, crowds really aren't that big of an issue. You know, that electrician's effect is really kind of handy on, you know, just basically anything that has a, you know, lower ammo capacity. And I'm pretty sure the, oh, I went to use my jetpack, which of course I don't have on this character. So there we go. But we should be able to, okay, the stun didn't seem to stun. I don't know. There we go. Now she's crippled. Now that one's dead. That one's dead. And now we have all the time we need. I did an unnecessary reload there. And let's see, gotta make sure the health bar is moving. Sometimes on her health bar will get stuck, but yeah, we're doing okay. Oh, I was shooting the head, that's why. I wasn't shooting the weak spot, that's my bad. All right, so my ammo count is double where I started, and that's from looting not even all the enemies. I mean, most of them, but definitely not all of them. So let's see what we do. We have some chaos in the midst. Bleed damage is actually probably gonna finish him off. Yeah, there we go. Against things like Scorched, all you have to do is hit them with the, I mean, that is one of the nice things about the explosive is we're just spreading the, all right. You can spread the bleed damage to other enemies. Against a lot of things, it doesn't matter. Okay, enough of this nonsense. And of course, there's some self-damage coming. I'm pretty sure that's what's going on. So there is that. Let's see, is there only one Scorch Beast? Doesn't look like we're doing a ton of damage to her, actually. Or him, I'm not sure. Maybe once we, oh, that was a pretty nice hit. And yeah, they're pretty tanky. I'm definitely feeling the slow fire rate. I'll try not to fall into a Fisher sight. Last time I did this, I ended up backing into my own death. Probably should play in, I find this works a little better in first person. I don't know, it feels like there's a little bit of a delay You know, a lot of weapons are that way when you're shooting in third person. It just feels like there's a little bit of a delay. It'd be nice if the stun effect would have kept her from flying away. But that's okay, we got the job done. And there you have it, the Harpoon Gun. It is a really fun running around weapon, but it's actually really good against bigger, tankier targets as well. But mostly it's just a ton of fun. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please hit one of the buttons, and I hope you'll join me in the next one. Thank you very much.